There are many types of Japanese teacups that differ based on design and purpose. In this video, we're going to cover all the different types of Japanese teacups and see which makes each one unique. We'll also take a deep dive into the history of each production style and what you might be able to tell about the teacups just by looking at them. Before we get started, it would really mean a lot to us if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for future tea videos. We have hundreds of videos on all sorts of topics related to Japanese green tea, but for this episode, we're going to focus on the teacups. Without further ado, let's get started. First, it's important to mention that not all tea in Japan is consumed in cups. For the Japanese tea ceremony, a traditional chawan is used both to prepare the tea and to drink the tea. Let's discuss the differences between the chawan matcha bowl and the Yunomi Tea Cup. First, the chawan. This handmade clay tea bowl is designed to be the perfect tool for preparing matcha. The thick, heavy clay retains heat well and also conveys a sense of importance, forcing the guest to drink the tea with both hands and focus on only the tea. The tea master will preheat the tea bowl before preparing the matcha tea. This will keep the matcha warmer for longer, and it can even warm up your hands during a cold morning tea session. The chawan looks very different from a typical bowl, as it has more of a cylindrical shape to it. This makes the whisking of the matcha tea much easier, as there is more space on the bottom of the bowl, and the steeper sides make it harder to spill the tea. Finally, there's usually a small pattern on one side of the tea bowl that serves an important purpose in the tea ceremony. When the guest drinks tea from the bowl, they are meant to turn the design to the other guests as a sign of respect, allowing them to look at the most beautiful side of the bowl as they drink. Next, we have the Yunomi. The Yunomi is a teacup designed for everyday drinking. As we mentioned before, the chawan is designed to convey a sense of great importance, and that is one of the reasons it's used in the tea ceremony. On the other hand, Yunomi teacups are meant to enjoy a more simple cup of tea. This is not to say that these teacups cannot be special, as much work and design still goes into producing them. In the next section, we'll cover the different styles of Yunomi and the history behind each one. First, we have the Hagi Yunomi. The Hagi is an older, traditional type of Yunomi that is made from stone. The glazing style was inherited from the Korean style of pottery. During the 15th century, there was great competition between Japan and Korea when it came to producing pottery, and a lot of Korean potters were recruited to Japan for their talents. This gave rise to more Korean influence in the Japanese pottery during this time period, which is evident in these types of Japanese teacups. You may notice a lot of Hagi teacups with this cracked white glaze effect, as this was one of the most prominent styles of the time. Karatsu. This is another one of the types of Japanese teacups, and it's made with a high firing process and glazing. The iron painting is actually applied underneath the glaze, so the texture is uniform even though the coloring is different. This type of clay teapot became less common with the introduction of porcelain to Japan, but it has since seen a revival, thanks to the help of Nakazato Muon, a famous Japanese potter that lived from 1895 to 1985. Next we have the Shino. This was the first truly Japanese style of white glaze used for Yunomi teacups. One of the more noticeable features of these types of Japanese teacups is the oxide markings, which are made from feldspar and added to give color and texture to the teacup. Possibly the most noticeable feature of these Japanese teacups are the small holes dotted throughout the teacup. This style is sometimes referred to as citron skin or yuzuhara because of its resemblance to the outside of a lemon. Finally, we have the Mashiko. These Japanese teacups get their name from the small town of Mashiko, where they were originally made. The earliest iterations of these clay teacups were red in color, as they were made from the red clay that the town is famous for. A potter by the name Shoji Hamada encouraged more creative freedom when it came to the craftsmanship of these types of Japanese teacups, so the ones produced in the early 20th century and beyond will have less of this standard red clay design. In addition to different types of Japanese teacups, there are also different production styles. These production styles vary based on the medium used and the general spirit of the craftsmanship. First, we have clay. These are the original types of Japanese teacups. There are places in Japan like Tokoname that have naturally occurring, high-quality clay, and they produce excellent quality Japanese teapots and Japanese teacups. Clay is heavier than porcelain, but is much easier to work with. Porcelain was introduced to Japan much later and soon rose in popularity. Chinese porcelain was considered to be a great status symbol at the time, not only in Europe but also in Japan. Nowadays, porcelain is much more affordable, so it's quite common to see the tea being served in small white porcelain cups. Finally, we have Wabi Sabi. This is not a medium of Japanese teacup, but rather a general artistic style. You will notice this style across all types of Japanese art, particularly when it comes to teaware. You will notice asymmetry, imperfections, and lack of uniformity across Japanese teaware produced in this style. The idea is not to strive for perfection, but find joy in the imperfections. In a broader sense, the goal is to embrace the imperfections that exist in life and nature and celebrate their beauty. We hope you like this video on Japanese teacups. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, it would really mean a lot to us if you could like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions about Japanese teacups or Japanese tea in general, feel free to leave those in the comments below. Until then, we'll see you next time.